Hello and welcome to my video. Today I want to show you how to create this multicolored decal inside the Silhouette Studio, and then you can cut it with your Silhouette machine. And it's a fairly simple design, but I will show you some tips and tricks how to get this done in just a few minutes. And the first things first, I'm using the Silhouette Studio Basic Edition, which is a free version which you can get from the Silhouette website. Okay, so let's get started. I will start in a blank document, and what I usually like to do is jump to the page setup dialog or panel, and in here I will enable the grid. In a way, by default it looks like this. If I select show grid, I can just see the grid. But I usually lower the spacing to a point where there is almost no space in between the lines, like so. So it looks like a page background color. And this way I can really see what's happening in now, because sometimes I can have like white pieces floating around which will be hard to identify. Okay, so let's get started. I will start with the polka dot pattern. And for this, of course, I need some circles. So I will select the ellipse tool and draw this. Let me zoom in a little bit more. And draw the ellipse with the shift key pressed, just so it's not an ellipse but a circle instead. And I will probably set the outline to no outline, and I can just select some random fill color, maybe this pink one. And now I need to duplicate it a few more times. I can of course hit the duplicate button in here and then move it to the right spot, or I can just copy paste it, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, which will paste it to a different position. But what I usually like to do is select this replicate panel, and in here I will select this replicate, advanced replicate, because there is the duplicate button which I can press, of course, but it will duplicate it, making sure that it's aligned on the right side. But I want to have some spacing in here, so I will open the advanced settings, and in here I will click this icon which will allow me to enter my custom X and Y offset, and I will probably go with something like 15 millimeters because this is 10 millimeters, so there is some spacing. I will hit replicate a few more times. Of course I can increase the number of copies in here, but I usually like to just keep pressing this button until I'm satisfied with the number of copies. Then I will select all the dots which I have in here, and I will select more or bigger spacing for the Y direction, so 0 for X and maybe 20 for Y, and again hit replicate button a few more times until I feel like I will be able to fit the number in here. I can close the replicate panel, zoom out a little bit more, and I will select all the circles in here and duplicate those using the duplicate button in here. So let me duplicate those, and they will still be selected, so I can use my arrow keys together with the shift key to just move this around. Hopefully, no, it doesn't seem to be working properly. Oh, it is. Okay, so I can just move it around, and while I have all those circles selected, I can open the fill properties and maybe change this to a different color, because that's the point of this tutorial, that we can have different colored dots inside the number. Okay, so I guess this is fine for the pattern. Let me add the number. So I will open the text tool and just type in some random number, maybe 4. And I will show you in a minute why I'm using 4, because it has this shape inside which sometimes can cause some troubles. I believe I was using Font Archive, but you can of course use any kind of fonts, and you can download this for free from web. And then I will resize it to some much bigger size. Now the problem with doing it like so is you can see the dimensions, but they are not actually the dimensions of the letter itself, because for the font, of course, some letters could go below the baseline. So this is like this number, this imaginary line is a baseline. Sometimes it could go below the baseline, or it could go above those numbers. For example, some special characters like slash or maybe even like brackets, they will probably be much bigger than the letters or the numbers. So you will see some dimensions, but they are meaningless. So if you want to see the actual dimensions of the number, you have to convert this to a path. So I will select object, convert to path. Now you cannot edit this once you convert this to path, so you may as well create a copy, and then one of this copy convert to path. And now I can finally see the dimensions of the letter. I don't have any specific dimensions in mind, so I will just go with my random size. But for you, of course, you can enter or you can resize it and see the dimensions in here, or you can open the transformation dialog, and for the size you can first click this lock icon to make sure that it's locked, the width and height, and then you can enter your own dimensions based on the size you want this decal to be. Again, I will just eyeball this to make sure that it somehow is over all the circles which I have in here, like so. I'll most likely change the fill color so I can see what's happening, how the number is big, and now I can start trying to pressing some random buttons and hopefully get the result of the circles being only inside the number. And I'm saying random buttons, but I will go to the modify panel and I will use some of those modify buttons. I will select everything, and the first thing which you would like to press is of course the crop button, because that's what should lead to the expected result. But watch what happens if I press the crop button. It will crop everything into the size or into the shape of the number 4, but we kind of lost all the color information. I mean, it's white because the number 4 was white, but it doesn't keep the colors from the circles, which is unfortunate because we will have to go one by one, select all those different circles and change those colors. It could take some time. So I'm hoping there would be a better way how to do this. Let me undo this operation. So undo the welding, and let me try different things. And actually I don't even need to try, because if I try to, for example, divide this, you will see it will be divided in a way that we want it to be divided, but again the color information is lost. So I will tell you up in front that most of those modify buttons will create what's called the compound path, and the compound path is just the multiple paths at once. And if I weld this together, you will see that if I have a compound path, it only have one fill and one outline, so I can have a different fill and outline. Thankfully there is this option which is subtract all, which will keep the color information. So let me select everything and select subtract all, and it will hopefully get rid of the some stuff in here. So once it's finished, it takes some time. You can see if I move this number 4 to the side, we have a hole in there, but we have all those circles which has the right colors, which is great. So the only thing I need to make, or only change I need to make, is to make sure that we are not subtracting the number 4, but we are actually subtracting everything else except for the number 4. So again, let me undo this operation, let me undo the subtract all, and before I do subtract all, I need to have the inversion of the number 4. So I will just move to this empty left side and move the number 4 in here, and I want to subtract the number 4 from the big rectangle. So let me draw a big rectangle, like so. Change the fill color to some random color. Select the number 4, right click and select bring to front. I'm not quite sure if you can see the right click menu, bring to front, and just position it over the rectangle. Now I know that I may need the number 4 in the future, so I will just in case duplicate it, but I will also show you the way what to do if I did forget to duplicate it. So let me just move it down here, and I will just keep it there for the future. Then I will select the rectangle together with the number 4, drawing this selection rectangle, and in the modify panel I will hit subtract, so it will create a hole in the rectangle. Now it created two different shapes. You can see I can move this stuff around, and that's the reason why I did choose number 4, because it has this inner shape. So I have to select both shapes and select object, make compound path, so now it's just one path, and now I can move this over the circles. And the advantage of doing so is I can even position this more precisely, so I can see what's happening. I can even change this color to maybe like pink one, so I can see really where the cut line will be. So I can use my arrow keys on my keyboard to make sure there are no small elements, small circles like so. And I can of course spend much more time than I'm going to do right now, because I want to make this tutorial quite short. The other thing I can do is I can jump to the fill panel and maybe increase the transparency a little bit more, just so I can see really what's happening, what's going on. Okay, let's say that I'm happy with this result and I'm happy with this placement. So now I can select everything, all the circles and the shape in front, which is the rectangle with the hole in there, jump to the modify panel and hit subtract all. And if everything works as expected, I should only have the number 4 made from the circles. I still get this outline shape which I can move to the side, and if I open my previous creation, you can see there is this outline around everything. So let me quickly add this back. I do have this number 4 being here, which I can use for this outline, but let's say that I did forgot to copy this one. So how could I make this shape back into the shape of the hole in there? How can I get this hole to be filled and the outline to be, or the outer part to be gone? And I can do this by selecting this edit points button and clicking one of those edit points on the outer part of the shape, like maybe this one. Then I will hit the delete key a few more times. So one time delete key, second time I will hit the delete key, and for the third time I will actually get rid of the shape around, revealing only the middle. So I get the same shape which is on the bottom, which I did copy it. Now I have this back. So if I want the outline, I just open the offset panel, which is this one, and in here I will click offset, and I guess the default value is fine, so I will click apply, and I will click offset one more time, and again the default value is fine, hit apply. So I have 3 different shapes offsetted by certain amount, and I don't need the inner one, so I will just delete the inner one. For the other 2, I will maybe change this color to the violet, but of course I want this inner part to be empty, so I will again jump to the modify panel and hit subtract, which will only reveal the outline. Again, this is just a floating part which I don't have to, but I usually like to either group it or create a compound path just so that this is just one object. I will move it to the right spot like so, and maybe change the outline to no outline just so it looks fine. Okay, we can end here, but I would like to show you how to actually cut it from 2 different colored vinyls. And we have 2 different options. So the one option is you will put maybe the pink vinyl on your mat, then you will jump to the sand pane, and you say that you only want to cut the pink vinyl. So instead of going to action by simple, you will switch to action by fill, and you can see that it will show us all the different fills which are used in the design. So for the first cut, I will select I only want to cut the pink circles. So I will select I want to cut this one, this checkbox, and it will only cut me the pink circles. And of course I have to set the material to the right one, so it will be some kind of vinyl, of course. I don't know, maybe vinyl matte. And auto blade tool number 1, which is this red circle in here. I can switch to the tool number 2 if I click this circle. But for this one I need the first tool, which is of course the auto blade for the right settings. Then I will cut this using of course the send button. Then I will unload the material and mat, place the violet vinyl in here, jump to the send action by fill, and in here I will uncheck the pink one and check the violet one, and again send this and cut it. There is a different way how to do this as well, and that's what I usually like to do. If I have something small like this, I can just cut the 2 different vinyls in a certain size, and I can maybe place the pink one on the left side like so. So there will be a pink vinyl on the left side like so, and then I will place the violet vinyl on the right side, so everything or both vinyls are on the same mat, and I can do this all in one, so I can only load the mat once. So let me show you how to prepare your design if you have 2 different colors of the vinyl on your mat like so. So let me get rid of this one. So you will of course make some measurements to make sure that it fits, and you will need 2 different copies. Actually I will make 3 different copies just in case this will be like a backup copy. Then I will have 1 copy in here and create a second copy in here. So the idea is that for this left part I will only keep what's in the pink color, and for the right part I will only keep what's in the violet color. So let me zoom in just a little bit more, and I will select this right shape and make sure everything is inside the group, and that's an important step. So I will group this one, then I will open this dialog select by color, and the important thing to notice is to make sure that include groups is unchecked and only shapes on media is checked. This means that this is a group, so it will not be affected by this dialog, and this is outside our media, so it will also not be affected. So now what I can do is I can click select by fill color, and we have all the different fill colors used in the design. So I want to select everything which is violet like so, and just delete it, and it's gone. So we only have pink shapes on the left side. Then I will group those together, so object group, and I will ungroup the right side. So object ungroup the right side, it's ungrouped, and now I can click select by fill by the pink color, and so everything pink will be selected, and I can delete it pressing the delete key on my keyboard. So now our design is separated into 2 different passes. So the left side is pink and the right side is violet, and now I can just click the send button, and in here I don't need action by fill, I can just select action by simple, because I will be cutting everything at the same time at once, knowing that on my mat there is this pink vinyl on the left side and the violet vinyl on the right side, and hopefully the result will look something like this. And that's it. That's how you create those multicolored polka dot pattern inside the number inside Silhouette Studio. So if you like my video, please consider subscribing. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them down in the comment section. And if you like stickers, please consider visiting my cuteandglute.etsy.com shop, where you can get a lot of different stickers. I've just added this custom name stickers for bricks, which I kind of like because they are very cool, and you can specify your own names and characters and put those on your bricks, and it really looks nice. Okay, so that's it. That's for my short advertisement. I hope to you liked my video, and I also hope to see you next time. Thank you for watching, and bye.